Is this everything you need to turn your hotel room into a tech center? Let's have a look. Dave Taylor here, and I spend a lot of time in hotel rooms, which means I'm constantly having to deal with hotel Wi-Fi. Now, some hotels are pretty cool about it and you can connect as many devices as you want, but other hotels, and I'm looking at you, Las Vegas, other hotels think that you should pay per device, which is kind of whack. But the problem is that most of the devices that we travel with don't have the ability to really help out very much. Now, I travel with at least one phone and a laptop and a tablet and sometimes other devices. I don't want to pay 10, 20, 30, 40 bucks a night for Wi-Fi connectivity. Get real, guys. So if you're in a hotel and that's what they're doing, not a lot of options, right? But there are. This is a really cool option. This is the RAVPower AC750 TravelRouter. So at its most basic, the coolest feature of this is that you connect this to your smartphone, you use their app, so then through your app, you actually connect this to, for example, hotel Wi-Fi, and then this, becomes a Wi-Fi router. So I have this set up where I have the RAV File Hub app running on my iPhone, and I've hooked it up to here. I've connected this to my Wi-Fi network, and then I have also connected this Android phone to the RAVPower router too. So I have two devices using one Wi-Fi connection. That's pretty sweet. Now, here's the thing, is that this has no idea about the connectivity here in my house, in a hotel, at a conference center, whatever. So once I have this set up to pair with this, then connectivity is super fast. This thing shows up, I tap a button, boom, I'm online. Now, you could do that with your laptop, you can do that with your laptops, plural, your tablets, whatever devices you have. Everything then connects to this, and this then connects to the internet. Pretty smart, actually. Pretty cool. But this does more than that. So it is also a media sharing device, and it has its own battery. So you can see it's not plugged into anything, but it has a 6,700 milliamp hour battery, and that gives me the ability to run and use this for many hours at a shot. When I'm ready to charge, I pop open the side connector, and there is a micro USB. There is a regular USB 3. You can charge other devices with this. That's pretty cool. And there's actually an Ethernet plug. So if you want to use this as a really high-speed router, you can actually use this with an Ethernet connection. Now, there are some hotels that offer that in the room. So if you can do that, it'll be faster to use this as your Wi-Fi router, most likely, than to use what they have in the hotel. So let's talk about specs. So if you're using this as the travel router, let me turn it right side up, then you're going to get roughly about 300 megabits per second at 2.4 gigahertz and 433 megabits per second at 5 gigahertz. So that's lower than the spec, but it's still pretty screaming compared to generic Wi-Fi if you're sharing it with a bunch of people. Now, this isn't going to do any miracles. If this then connects to the internet via a slow connection, it can't speed things up. It just makes life so much easier. But where this gets really cool, it also lets you share media. So I have plugged in an SD card, I should say, and it means that anyone who accesses this device also can access the files on that SD card. That's pretty cool. You can also plug something into, I showed you on the end, that USB connector. You can plug in a flash drive, and everyone who has the app and is connected to the RAVPower can also see the files on that. So this makes it a really nice way if you need to share data. If you're at a presentation and you want to just give 10 people copies of the data, that would be one way you could do that, though they of course would all have to download the app. Now, I have to be candid. This app is super confusing. I actually would say that, I'll show you real quick how it works, but this real sweet spot is as a travel router. It's so small, so light, and it solves so many problems for us travelers that want to actually have things work smoothly on multiple devices. But I told you I'd do this, so here's what I'm going to do. Let me go ahead and record my screen, And so by default, what you can see here is you can see this showing me file management. But you see all those icons on the lower portion that say videos and photos and music? As far as I can tell, none of them actually do anything. So for example, if I go into photos, it's empty, right? But look on the bottom. If I go to my iPhone, it can show me the photos on my iPhone. Okay, maybe there's a way to actually copy those up to this, to the SD card or to the hard drive, but it's not going to be super fast. This is not what I would use this for. But if we go to the SD card, which I can do by tapping on File Management, so now, actually, no, that's not right. Let's tap on SD card. No, the SD card icon. There's going to be a way to do this. Let's see. That looks like that accomplished something. And you can see I have 1.8 gig on the SD card, and now I don't know what happened. Now it looks like I have 0 on my hard disk, which doesn't make sense because so this is great. You know why this is great is because this is a live demo of exactly what makes this so confusing. So let's try going here. See, that folder's empty. The file hub is empty. I don't know. Maybe I just reformatted my SD card. This should not be so darn hard. It should be actually super easy for you to be able to get this to work. So let's unplug my SD card, pull it out, put it back in, and let's see what happens. Assuming I can get it to click in. But, you know, this is the issue I have with this is I've been using this application for days and days and days trying out different configurations, and you wouldn't think so because it's so puzzling to try to figure out how it's thinking about things. So here's what I'm going to do. Oh, look, the card has returned. So that's reassuring. So now let's see if I can get to the card's content. So again, file management. Ah, look, file management, and it's showing me everything that's on the SD card. That is pretty cool, right? So then I can look at the photos that are on the SD card remotely, and this is just one of, I could have a half dozen devices connected to the RAVPower. Cool. And let's check this out. If I go to video, and I go to a video, then, well, some of them work, some of them don't, but this should be playing, but all we're getting is the audio, so a little disappointing. Let's try this one. Maybe this one will work. And let's see. Well, it often, you know, when you have a streaming video, it can take a little while to sort of load the content. Maybe go back here and try press play, and got nothing for you. So we will try, there's one more video. We'll try doing maybe this. And this is a .mov. And so, I don't know, you probably can't hear, but there's audio.
I think you may have been at like a couple practice.
It's very low. I'll turn that volume up. But there's no video. So, you know, let me just be really candid with you. As I said, is that the strong point of this product is not its file management system. If it was up to me, I would recommend to them that they just junk it and start over with a whole new app. But you know what? If that's not what you're looking for and you just think of the file sharing as this additional feature that might or might not be of value to you, as a travel router, it's really pretty cool. And I think this is the kind of thing where it's nice and small and it has a relatively small number of functions, so it's not super complicated. And that actually can be something that can work well for a lot of people. Now, I will say specs wise, and I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. So specs wise, this can actually theoretically upload at somewhere between 12 and 18 megabytes per second onto either the SD card or the USB or whatever you plug into that USB, which is not too bad. If my average photo is 2 or 3 megabytes, that means I'm doing 2 or 3 photos per second. I just can't figure out how to do it. So maybe you have more patience and maybe you are willing to try to figure out how do you copy 400 photos from your phone onto the device that's plugged into this so that other people can share it. There's probably a way to do that, and probably there's someone watching this video right now saying, dude, seriously, it's not that hard. I say, It is hard. I say it's a very complicated piece of software that doesn't need to be that complicated. So let me just say also, you can have up to 5 people sharing this, and you can limit permissions for different people. You can set up guest accounts, lots of cool things. And by the way, 7 ounces. 7 ounces. That makes this pretty cool. So it's really kind of a mixed review. I really like all of the Wi-Fi and router settings for this, and I really dislike the way the software works. So, you know, now you have sort of the pros and cons of this device. It's actually pretty darn inexpensive. So if you're just looking for a router and you can ignore the other features, or you're willing to mess around and try to figure out how to make them work, this could be a great solution for you. Now, before I get to the actual price, let me ask if you can go ahead and click on subscribe. I appreciate that. Oh, and just super fast before we get there, let me just say that there are basically ports and such on 2 sides. One side, as you've already seen, USB 3, micro USB, and an Ethernet plug. And then on the other side, there's a button that lets you switch it between 2.4 and 5 gigahertz and the SD card slot. No micro SD, just regular SD card. And then there's a button that says SD to USB, which one would like to think means if you put an SD card in here from, say, your camera, and you have a hard drive or flash drive plugged into the USB, pushing that button will copy all of this data to there. That is what you would think would occur. I have not tested it because I'm kind of afraid of losing data. But let's just give them the benefit of the doubt that that works, and that's cool. So this is the RAVPower AC750 TravelRouter, and it is actually very, very reasonably priced at $59.99 at Amazon.com. And here's the thing to think about too, is that, you know, from a hardware perspective, this is a great piece of hardware. In terms of the software, that's something they can fix and download and make available, and you can just one day restart your app and boom, it totally makes more sense and it's a more logical layout. So, you know, if you're looking for something that has the functionality here and you're kind of hoping you can figure out the whole file sharing thing, that might be something that by the time you're watching this video, they might have redone it. Who knows? So worth checking out, worth maybe looking at some reviews from different sources and maybe checking with the manufacturer to find out what their plans are in terms of their software. So I think this is a keeper. I really like the fact that it gives me the ability to create my own Wi-Fi network anywhere I am and limit what my devices are and that only I can get to it. It's pretty cool. So this is Dave Taylor, kind of a mixed review, but hey, gotta say, I'm definitely honest, right? Cool. Leave me comments. Give me some feedback on how this all worked for you, because I'm really interested in that. And with that, I'll catch you in my next video.